listening to See on Momma Cherri's stay-at-home prevention Corona Soul in the Bowl. This is what happened. Let me get it to you close up. Okay, it's Momma Cherri. I'm going to actually read from cover to cover for the first birth of the restaurant. This is what you've been waiting for. Put the glasses back on. It's a kitchen nightmare. Oh yeah.
You wanna do it, do it, do it. I got the cornbread and hush puppies too. Putting it together just for you. And we're going to enjoy our soul in a bowl. UK style.
Hi all my peeps and welcome back. We are, sailing along at a rapid pace. This is the big one. We are on meats. Oh yeah. I have to put my glasses back on because my eyes, they ain't gone. I gotta put the other one on top. I can't see. Wow, I can see now. Grilled or baked jerk chicken. Jerk chicken and jerk fish have slowly but surely made their way onto my menu. I have taken my recipe for jerk seasoning back home to America and served it to my mother. She won't touch it. She won't touch the fish, but she loves the chicken. As I've already mentioned, jerk seasoning is not traditionally associated with American soul food. I spent so much time in England and have enjoyed and absorbed so many traditional Caribbean recipes that inevitably these flavors and methods have been adopted into my recipes. Don't be put off by the inclusion of chili peppers and spice in the marinade. They add a lot of flavor to the dish, but not necessarily heat. Give it a try, but remember to take it easy at first. Begin with a little seasoning and increase as your taste buds take to the overall warmness of the dish. You're going to need half the quantity of my Cajun jerk seasoning, the wet one, the one I gave you from Barbados. 6 to 10 chicken pieces or 20 chicken wings. Rub the jerk seasoning into the chicken pieces and leave to marinate in the refrigerator for at least an hour, preferably overnight. Place the chicken skin side down on a hot griddled pan and cook over a highly flamed heat for 8 to 10 minutes, turning the pieces over to reduce the heat to medium. Cover with a lid or foil and cook for another 10 minutes. Uncover and turn again. Then continue to cook until the juices run clear when you insert a skewer. Alternatively, you can bake the chicken. Seal it first by placing it onto a hot griddle for about 2 minutes per side, then transfer to a preheated oven and cook for about 20 minutes, 20 to 40 minutes, okay, depending on the sizes of your chicken. If you prepare a large quantity of barbecue sauce, you can make a variety of meat and vegetable dishes. In Caribbean cooking, you find a lot of curry dishes, but us American soul foods tend to lead towards the barbecue. There is a long tradition of smoked and barbecued meats on our tables. Perhaps this dates from the time when much of our cooking was done outside in open fires and in smokehouses. From an early age, I remember the menfolk taking over the grills and barbecue pits. At a family reunion and picnics, while the women were busy inside frying chicken and baking cakes and pies, the men would grab a cold drink, put on an apron, and make their way to their domain, the outside barbecue pit. Here's where the ribs, chicken, pork, fish, and even some vegetables would either get burnt to a crisp or grilled to perfection. I would recommend that you buy a cast iron ridge griddle pan, as it will add to the overall flavor of any dish. Even if I'm cooking outside on a barbecue grill, I tend to begin all of my meats indoors. If you have to be careful when barbecuing that everything is cooked thoroughly to the bone. Many a barbecue has been spoiled by underdone meat, and it's just not not worth the risk of ruining your day and everybody else's. If they get sick from eating some raw meat, it ain't a good look. Start the cooking indoors might seem like cheating, but it will save you time in the end, and it also means you can relax and enjoy yourself in the knowledge that everything has been properly prepared. So, you start it inside, get it nearly there. So then when the men take over and think they're doing their thing and throwing it on the grill, you know it's cooked. Okay? I ain't dissing you men, but y'all know what I'm talking about, women, don't you? Oh, yes, you do. All right. Barbecue chicken. There are a lot of ways to prepare chicken. Southern fried is my favorite, but barbecue chicken comes a very close second. You can find a variety of dried barbecue seasonings to add to the mix. You might also want to add a little curry powder. Remember, with soul food, it's about experimenting with what you already have in your cupboard. There's no right and there's no wrong way. It's simply your way. You hear me? Your way, your preference. So, for this is what I'm suggesting. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 chicken cut into 8. I'm taking a whole chicken and just cutting it up, or 8 pre-cut chicken pieces. 2 tablespoons of soft brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of white vinegar or cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of my love dust, the juice and zest of 2 oranges, 1 tablespoon of barbecue seasoning or 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and some barbecue sauce. Rub the salt and pepper into the chicken pieces, followed by the brown sugar, vinegar, Cajun seasoning, orange juice, zest, and barbecue seasoning or paprika, if using. Cover the chicken and leave to marinate for at least 1 hour or overnight in the fridge. Place your ridge griddle pan on a stove and turn the heat up to maximum. Once the pan is red hot, take the chicken pieces out of the marinade and shake it off any excess liquid. Place them skin side down onto the griddle and cook for about 3 minutes until scored and underneath. Be careful because there will be a lot of smoke and the meat will begin to sizzle. Turn the chicken over and cover with a lid or a piece of foil. This will help to give it that smoky flavor. Reduce the heat and cook for 5 minutes until sealed underneath. Now you have 2 options. You can transfer the chicken to a roasting tin and cook it in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes longer if it needs it. Or you can take it straight outside and place it on your grill and finishing it off. Doing it the same way, topping it with some barbecue sauce. This is merely to combine the flavors of the sauce and the meat. The chicken will already have cooked in the oven. Of course, if you're competent at an outside grill, you can cook the chicken on it from raw, but do make sure that it's cooked right through. I prefer to pre-cook my meat for peace of mind. Alternatively, you can spread the barbecue sauce over the chicken after 10 to 15 minutes in the oven and return it to the oven for another 5 to 10 minutes until the sauce is brown and beginning to bubble. Either way, your meat will be tender and juicy with a wonderful barbecue flavor. Variations, you can now go on to prepare many other ingredients such as your pork chops, turkey portions, and even fish. Okay, here we go. Story time. In 2001, when my husband Phil and I decided to open Momma Cherries in Brighton, we interviewed only one chef, and that was Brian Moya. We hit it off on so many levels that we knew immediately that we would be able to have a great working relationship. Together, we developed and enhanced some of the oldest and simplest dishes. Dishes we both used to eat growing up. I was amazed at how much we had in common. Brian's childhood was spent in Africa with parents from Zambia and Zimbabwe, while I grew up in the States. Like mine, his grandmother was a strong figurehead of a large, close family. I feel I have been truly blessed because I grew up in a loving, supportive family. It saddens me when I hear of families who don't get together and support each other. We did this regularly through our family reunions, holidays, and any other holiday excuse we could use to meet up. From the start, I knew that Brian could cook. Over the years, he grew into the head chef I always hoped he would. For 5 years, Brian gave his all, but in 2006, he decided to step down as head chef. He generously passed on his knowledge of soul food to the new chef, Tristan Dooley. He worked with Tristan to help him understand and develop the soul food concept. He leaves us to return to his love of art. Those hands are so loving and lovingly mixed meatloaf, breaded chicken for all those years, and now he will be busy creating a new way. He might have gone, but his recipe for his barbecue ribs lives on in my restaurant. Now, like I say, this was written back in 2006. Restaurant has closed. Brian now has his own place. I am so happy for him. He is back to cooking. He's now on to his third place. He was working for other people, but eventually he's gotten to the stage where he and his brother George have opened up their own place called Moyo's Burgers. They're called Moyo's, and he does the best burgers and chicken in town, down here in Brighton. I love me some Brian. So this is Brother Brian's barbecue ribs. This is one of the dishes that Gordon Ramsay could not resist. He left bones on that plate. And this is the reason why. Brian may be gone from the restaurant kitchen, but his legendary recipe for barbecue ribs, which have been known to have grown men licking their fingers in public, stays with us. They are so moist, with meat that just falls from the bone. It's one of those dishes where you may not get the timing quite right when you first cook them, but you shouldn't give up. The next time, leave them for longer, or they have cooked too quickly. Take them out and do it sooner. You'll know. You'll get it right. This is what you need. 2.5 kilos of ribs. I prefer pork ribs, but some people like beef. The choice is yours. And 300 for water or stock. For the marinade, you want 150 grams of soy sauce, milliliters of soy sauce, 150 milliliters of cider vinegar or malt vinegar, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of mixed herbs, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of Mama's Love Dust, some dried chili flakes, some dark sugar, brown sugar, and some vegetable oil. Now, also in that, we now have added some Worcestershire sauce to it, okay? For the barbecue sauce, you want, because this is our homemade barbecue sauce, 2 tins or cans of chopped tomatoes, 1 orange peeled, cut into large pieces, 1 small can of chopped pineapple, 1 onion, 1 red, green, and yellow pepper chopped, some white or cider vinegar, brown sugar, salt, pepper, Cajun seasoning, smoked paprika, and a small jar of some just store-bought smoky barbecue flavored sauce or some liquid smoke. Optional. Okay, place all of the marinade ingredients except the sugar and the oil in a large pan and bring it to a boil. Now, this is changed, okay? So I ain't even going to read you the old way. What we now do is we take all of those marinating ingredients, put them all together. Just throw it all in. Sugar, salt, pepper, everything. Put it all into a plastic bag and then place your ribs in there. Or put your ribs into a pot, into a pan, shallow pan, pour it over. Cover it, leave it to marinate for at least a day. Okay? And something that is missing from here, cumin seeds. You need some cumin seeds and some cumin. Oh my God. You know, because say with cooking, it's about developing. You may start one way, but by the time you get to the end with experimenting, you get that recipe right. Okay? And we got that recipe right now. Okay, wash your ribs and pat them dry. Okay? At this stage, you're going to need to decide whether or not you want to cut them up into smaller portions. Okay? Put them in a dish and marinate overnight if you can. If you're in a hurry, try to marinate them for at least an hour. Meanwhile, make your barbecue sauce, combining all of the ingredients. And you leave it to simmer. Then you might want to take it out, take your large pieces out, and then you want to blitz it up with a hand mixture. Now, to cook the ribs, pour off the excess marinade. Okay? And then heat a rigid griddle pan over a high heat and place your ribs on it to seal them. They should sizzle, and the sugar and the marinade should make them smoke. Okay, when Brian is cooking his ribs, I sometimes have to remind them that he's not cooking outside in his backyard. And he just flashes me that smile. Yeah, Chef, I know what you mean, the smoke. But that's what makes them good. He's so right. I smile right back at him and leave him to it. And just open the back door to let the smoke out. Then cook for about 2 minutes each side. And then transfer them to a baking tray. Take 100 milliliters of the marinade, mix it with a little water or stock. Together, stir them together and drizzle over the ribs. Place in the oven, and then you want to cook these for a minimum of an hour. The ribs should release their own juices, but you don't want them to dry out. After an hour or so, top up the barbecue sauce and turn the heat up. Let's imagine it's a hot summer day. And you've got friends coming over. Why not take these ribs outside now and throw them on a grill? All you need to do is take them out of the oven after the first hour is cooking. Place them on a hot grill. Place some more barbecue sauce on them. Cook them for about 5 minutes and bouillon! You got the best ribs in town. Let me show you these ribs. Oh, make me want to get up and cook some ribs right now. Okay? And this coming to the last recipe under our meats. Turkey always reminds me of Thanksgiving and fun family times back home. I have stuck to the tradition here in the UK, making sure I gather my friends and family together to give thanks. And of course, to eat until we drop. It's the day when all diets must be put on hold. Thanksgiving has been my favorite holiday ever since I was a child. You would have thought that Christmas would be the one to capture my heart. After all, that's when you get the pretty lights and the presents go under the tree. But give me a day surrounded by my loving friends and family, no pressure of a gift, and all the turkey you can possibly eat, and I'm as happy as a pig in muck. Roast turkey. I maintain that a good fresh roast turkey stuffed with vegetables and cornbread is the only way to go. Many butchers source traditionally reared birds from local farms, and even supermarkets now offer organic or free-range turkeys. Take the time to source a good bird. You won't go wrong. You have to reserve the giblets plus the juices from the roasting bird to make the perfect gravy. Homemade cranberry sauce is also a must. My brother, who lives in Georgia, believes that a southern side deep-fried turkey is the way of the future. But I won't be throwing out my oven, not yet. Turkey will be slipping. Turkey may be slipping off the UK Christmas menu now that goose, duck, and other birds have become fashionable again. But somehow, I don't think it will ever disappear from the American Thanksgiving tradition. It's part of our history, and without it, we'd be lost. So you want a nice sized turkey with giblets, 1 onion, 4 celery stalks, butter, sage, salt, pepper, and some cornbread stuffing. For the gravy, you're going to have the giblets from the turkey, onion, celery, water, flour, salt, and pepper. First, remove the giblets, where they're usually found in the bag inside the cavity of the bird. A lot of people don't realize this. They forget to look. You need to look at the back of the bird. Lift up that flap, and there's bound to be a plastic bag there. I've made the mistake in the past. Cleaned out the middle bit, cleaned everywhere else, seasoned, baked my turkey, and then when I go to cut it, I notice there's a plastic bag in the back. You don't want to do that. Trust me. Okay. So, you want to wash the bird inside and out with cold water, then pat it dry. Place in a roasting tin and put half the onion and celery into the cavity. Gently melt 100 grams of butter, then stir in the hint of half of the sage and salt and pepper. Leave to cool a while, and then pour this mixture over the turkey and massage it into the skin. Finally, chop the remaining onion and celery, mix them with the remaining butter and sage, and gently slide the mixture under the skin of the breast. Loosely pack the cornbread stuffing into the cavity of the bird. Some people don't like to cook the stuffing inside the bird. They cook it separately. But in my household, we always cooked it inside the bird. Cover the bird with foil and roast in the oven for about an hour. Remove the foil from the bird so that it can brown and crisp up nicely, and roast for a further 2.5 to 3.5 hours, depending on the size of your bird. Always check the instructions and the weight, because it depends on how heavy your bird is for how long you have to cook it. Basting occasionally with the juices in the tank. The rule of thumb is that a bird this size, when stuffed, should take about 15 minutes per 140 grams. Insert a roasting thermometer and make sure. It should register 82 degrees Celsius. Other indications that the bird is done, or if the drumsticks can be removed and down easily and the juice runs out clear with a skewer. When the bird is roasting, start preparing the stock for the gravy. Place the giblets, onion, celery, water, and some salt and pepper in a pan and bring to the boil. Simmer for 40 minutes or until the giblets are tender and the meat begins to fall from the neck. Remove from the heat, take out the giblets and cut them up into small pieces. When the turkey is done, remove from the oven and transfer to a large platter. Leave to rest for half an hour before carving. This is important. A lot of people take things straight from the oven and start carving. Meats are muscles. You need to let those muscles relax. That way it releases the juice and makes your meat tender. Place the roasting tin with all its juices on top of the stove over a low heat and add the meat from the giblets. When the drippings begin to bubble, stir in the flour to make a roux. Cook for a few minutes over a low heat, then slowly pour the hot giblet stock into, stirring all the time. Continue until it begins to bubble and thicken. Then season with salt and pepper to taste. I like a hearty gravy with the bits in, although some people prefer to strain it. Carve the turkey and serve with the gravy, plus mashed potatoes, greens, candied sweet potatoes, cornbread, cranberry sauce, whatever you can. Okay, that was a mouthful. So, I hope you enjoyed this section on meat. I hope it wasn't too long for you. Try cooking. Remember, most of these recipes are on other videos. Check out the videos. They will help you and guide you through. But more importantly, stay safe Stay in love with your family. Stay in love with life. Momma Cherri loves you. And I want you to stay safe. I hope you're enjoying my series of Mama's Soul in the Bowl, yeah. Stay inside and cook. Peace out.